Good evening. Here we are. It's our regular Tuesday night meeting of Golden Speakers Toastmasters. I'm your president, Jean Craig, in case you don't recognize me. We meet here at Fairfield Business Park on Tuesday nights from 7:45 to 9 o'clock, and here we are again. Before we get rolling, let's take out these devices, put them on silent, please. So nobody gets interrupted.
Can you still get the votes? No. Because you don't get.
I'll just turn it off.
I'm going to read the mission of the Toastmasters Club before I introduce our Toastmaster for the evening. The mission of a Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. That's the mission. Yay! Our next mission is to move right along, and the person going to do that for us tonight is our Toastmaster, Carmen Antacona.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home. It's happy to be here after a couple of days on, a couple of weeks also. And we are having a quote for today. A tree is known by its fruit, a man by his deeds. A good deed is never lost. He who sows courtesy reaps friendship, and he who plants kindness gathers love. Saint Basil. It's a nice quote, and I'm gonna introduce the roles for every things that we are gonna have here. Our timer is today, Jean. Could you please give us some information about your role?
Yes, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. My role as the timer today is to time the various sections of the meeting. We do have a speech tonight. We have an icebreaker that's 4 to 6 minutes. At 4 minutes, I will turn on the green. At 5 minutes, I will turn on the yellow. And at 6 minutes, I'll turn on the red. And then there's additional 30 seconds that continues after that before the speaker would be disqualified. We'll also have table topics. Table topics are 1 to 2 minute impromptu speeches. I will turn on the green at 1 minute. I will turn on the yellow at 1.5 minutes. And I will turn on the red at 2 minutes. And you have 30 seconds after that to finish up. We also have evaluators. Evaluations are 2 to 3 minute speeches. At 2 minutes, I'll turn on the green. At yellow. At 2 minutes, 30 seconds, I will turn on the yellow. And at 3 minutes, I will turn on the red. And there's 30 seconds to finish. And I will be giving a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And you are also the grammarian, Jean?
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I'll just point out, I have 2 jobs today, Madam Toastmaster. I will be first introducing the word of the day. The word of the day is stellar. One definition is it pertains to a star or stars. But just in general, the second definition is one I'm thinking of for use would be, it just means exceptionally good or outstanding. An example in a sentence, the restaurant received stellar reviews from the guides. So I'll be looking for places where people use that throughout the evening. The second job that I have is to look for creative usages of language that I can note, and then also possible usages of language that could use some improvement, and I'll mark those out as well. And I will also give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Our accountant for today is D.
So I'm looking for interruptions in speech, specifically using ahs and ums and you knows and likes, which shows, you're searching for what you're going to say next. That often happens. And at that point, the mind kind of goes blank and you go, or so. And I keep a tally of that.
Thank you. Our general evaluator is Dan. We are gonna hear from him later on. And our joke master for today is Jan. Today there is a prepared speech. This is an icebreaker speech. It is for David Solomon Samuel. He's from India. He has 2 years in US. He's doing his, it's a master's, MBA, while you are working as a financial director at Ideal Energy, which is a solar company. Let's welcome David.
Objectives?
Yeah, I have to read the objectives of the speech.
Oh,
So just fall on there.
so I'm just going, and let's welcome to Aaron.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Tonight's speech will be David's Icebreaker. The purpose of the Icebreaker, I look at it as 2 things. First, it lets us have an introduction to David as a person, and it also gives David an introduction to writing a speech specifically for Toastmasters, writing and performing a speech. The purpose of this speech is for the member to introduce himself or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech, is what the purpose statement is from the evaluation form. Pretty straightforward. Thank you.
Should I read again the objective?
No.
Okay.
Now.
Okay, now let's welcome to David.
Good evening, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I don't see any guests, so no guests. I hope I keep up to the stellar performance of the club. Today I want to share a particular experience in my life that happened many years ago. Of course, there are many good experiences that I've had in my life, but this experience gave me altogether a new perspective and gave me a different spectrum of life. This happened many years ago when I was growing up. As a kid, I used to be very naughty. So my mom, to have a better control on me, what she used to do is, she used to tell me a little story about me. She said, you're not a kid who can actually have a birthright because you're an adopted kid. And my mom used to say, you are found in a subway and nobody claimed the ownership, so we decided to adopt you. And this kind of sunk deep into my soul. I kept thinking about it, saying that I'm an adopted kid, I really don't belong to the family. That kind of actually gave a little space for my mom to control me. But later, many years later, I happened to find out that's a made-up story. Okay, just because to kind of actually control my naughtiness, my mom used this effective tool of this made-up story. But what had happened to me was, when I was very young, which this thought kind of sunk really deep into my soul. So as I would walk on the streets and pass by these homeless people, I would always ask this question: is this person who's lying on the street, is that person my biological parent? Is that lady my biological mom? That kept hitting me and pounding me pretty hard in my heart. And also, that gave me altogether a new desire to help the poor and the needy. I thought to myself, when I become big, when I become really rich, I will make sure that I provide for all these homeless people. I like to give a quote at this time. The quote states, the highest wisdom is love, and it's usually expressed in deeds. And that exactly got imbibed into my soul, saying that I need to express more of love. So with this, when I was growing up and as a teen, unlike a normal teen, I would like to spend more time being a volunteer, going out to orphanages, helping the people in the old age. And when all the other kids would look at me when I was doing this, because those kids like to have fun, go do things, as any teen would do, but I was a little different. So they would always make fun of me. And I would always tell them, when it comes to showing compassion and love, it's no-brainer. You don't have to really use your brain. It's always your feelings, your heart. Your heart takes precedence of your brain. So that's what is more important for you. It's always, the compassion is no-brainer. And later in my life, I went about actually being a volunteer for 2 years, doing a lot of church activities, going to orphanages, being over there for some time, and then in the old ages, and I worked in a hospital for a few months. So this is what I kept doing. And it so happened later, the life got so busy, I decided to educate myself, spend a lot of hours going to school, and then there was a time the life got even more busy, getting a job and going after my passion of the career. So the life went on so busy until one such time, I saw a little kid when I was sitting in the car, in the signal, when my car stopped in the signal, just came to me asking for food. And then I said to this kid, what are you doing? You should be out studying. He said, can you pay for my education? Okay, that's what the kid asked. And the kid asked, for a moment, I didn't know how to respond, but that thought kind of got really deep into my soul. I thought to myself, what am I doing? I had this passion to provide for the poor and the needy. Now I'm so busy kind of providing for my own personal needs, my family needs, and going after the luxurious needs for me and my family. I said, I need to change my perspective. And that's where I said to myself, if I want to provide more, I need to earn more. So what am I going to do? I decided to actually come to US to do my master's. And once I kind of make that money that I really want to do, I'm going to take the backpack, tell my wife that I'm out providing for the needy and the poor. And that's exactly what I want to achieve. And that's the very important aspect and the passion of my life, is to provide for the needy. And remember, compassion is no-brainer. I hope that as you walk out today, that you have some takeaways from this experience. Thank you very much.
Now we are having 2 minutes to evaluate the speaker. So for the timer, does the speaker qualify?
Yes.
Let's welcome to our general. Let's welcome to our evaluator for today, which is Aaron Ross. Okay.
Thank you. I think the word of the day really does define the speech that we heard today from David. Stellar. A stellar icebreaker, I really have to say. Your greeting at the start of your speech was really hooked the audience. You really just got right into it. You used the word of the day, you know, you kind of broke the ice a little bit with kind of a joke. That kind of sets the tone for the whole rest of the speech, and so excellent job there. You have a very strong voice. I mean, I don't think anyone has any issue understanding and hearing you when you speak. You have, you know, even when I can see a little bit of nervousness, you still have a very strong and powerful voice that has a great impact. You did have your laptop in front of you, but I honestly don't even know if you actually used it or not. It didn't. I think it felt to me like you had it there just in case, but I didn't even see you look down at it hardly at all, which is awesome, especially for a first speech. And you know, hopefully in the future we can go away from the laptop altogether and have enough confidence to know that we're going to have our speech memorized. And I did notice, I think there was one spot where you kind of lost where you're going, but you composed yourself and you just kind of sat for a second and just said, okay, that's where I'm at. And then you kept on going. And I mean, it might have felt like a big issue for you, but to the audience, a lot of us probably didn't even notice it. I mean, you held yourself very well in instances where you maybe lost track. One thing in particular that I noticed, while you do have a strong voice, your use of the stage, it was a little less confident. You kind of walked back and forth, I noticed, and not as defined as far as, okay, now I'm going to turn here and give this moment, and then now I'm on to my next part of the speech and I have a more defined movement. I feel that's something that could be improved in the future, is kind of setting specific points in your speech that you might want to, okay, here for this point, and then there for that point. You were looking at the audience the whole time. You kind of have the same issue that I have, though, where I noticed that you were kind of, it felt like you were scanning the audience instead of picking out a specific point to talk to someone and then moving on to your next point to engage that audience member, and so on and so forth. That's a very difficult thing to do, but something that could be worked on in the future. I felt one last thing is just maybe having a more defined intro to let the audience know right away what your speech is about, with the compassion and helping others. It took a little bit for that to sink in, that that's what you were going for, but overall I really enjoyed it. Stellar speech.
Let's introduce our table topics master, Art.
With your permission, ladies and gentlemen, I will do my role from this. Tonight's theme is fruits of summer. The fruits of summer come in a lot of varieties. One of those varieties is a tradition in Christian churches of going on missions. Young people go oftentimes to parts of the country or other countries very remote from their own, and they do good works to help downtrodden people who are less advantaged. Who would like to be my first table topics contestant? Jean. So the question is, of that kind of fruit of summer, do you know someone who's gone on missions and what they did, and tell us about it? Or have you yourself gone on missions, and can you tell us about that? Or done work that was, like David was describing, done solely out of
You're
compassion.
adding, I'm already off on a different
I'm trying to
tangent.
give you,
No, you're making it a little harder.
sorry.
Count that. You good?
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters, and viewers at home. Yes, I have gone on a mission before, in the summertime actually. It was always to find my next bag of deep red, juicy Bing cherries. I have a mission for cherries in the summertime. I think, Art, you've actually talked about cherries. There's some fruit I'm trying to remember that you really liked. But I have had periods of time where I buy a whole bag of cherries and I just eat them all the way through. And I've actually done that once this year. I've told myself, do not do that again. But a cherry uneaten is just almost a sin against nature. It has to be eaten. I can remember times when I was in Denver. I was a banker. I would go out, I'd be walking around in the square for the whole mall, and I would buy a bag of cherries from a vendor, and I would go back, and all afternoon I'd be sitting there in my little banker suit in my office, but popping cherries from a drawer underneath. I consider that an important mission because cherries are only there for a little while. Once they're gone, they're gone. My goal was to eat as many cherries as I could, and I generally ate at least a pound a day during cherry season, and I loved it. Am I there yet?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I know, it's tricky.
Sorry.
Okay. So thank you for that question, Mr. Table Topics Master. I know it's not quite on the path you were thinking, but Bing cherry, deep dark cherry mission is very important. It keeps balance in nature, it keeps balance in the physiology, and I'm proud to say I've conducted many of them.
Okay.
No, I was going, well, I really lost it.
I'll go.
Well, Jean anticipated my next category of fruits of summer. In general, one of the benefits in fruits of summer is that it liberates people to engage in activities outdoors that they might not otherwise in worse weather. And backyard gardening is one of those activities. People grow all varieties of fruits and vegetables and happily consume them as she was describing.
Are we doing
Who's
this?
going to be my next
Fruits of
contestant?
summer, we're doing the same thing, fruits of summer? Oh, I'll
Listen
go.
to the
Okay.
question, Dee.
So the question, Dee, is
Go ahead.
tell us about your favorite fruits and vegetables that you've either grown or know somebody who grows, and what you did with them.
I could talk about a lot of different types of fruits. I lived in the Central Valley of California for 10 years. If anybody's ever been there, this is like the fruit basket of the United States, probably of the whole world. And I belong to an organization called the Senior Gleaners. You know what gleaning means? It means when they go up to Yuba City, California, they have peach orchards that are bigger than downtown, than the whole city of Fairfield. And what happens during the summer before harvest, they flood the fields with water. It's irrigated. And the goal of that is to make the peaches bigger, so when they go through the canneries, you get more meat off the peach. The problem is that sometimes the seeds will split. So when the seed, peach seed inside is kind of hairy and sticky and stuff. When the seed splits, you can't go through the cannery. So I take my pickup truck, me and my buddies, we go up there, park under a peach tree and just shake it. All these peaches would come down into the truck. So think of a half-ton pickup truck full of peaches driving down the road. So we would then go, we'd juice it, we make peach jack. I had several 5-gallon water bottles. We'd fill it up. The peaches would sit there for, you know, a day or two or a week or 3 weeks. Then it would pretty soon would turn to peach jack. So we would drink this stuff all day long. And so if you ever go to California, go to Sacramento Valley. It is the fruit basket of the world. They grow everything there. It's such an amazing place. And the nice thing that I always liked about living there was figs. We go out into South Sacramento and there are fig trees. There were fig trees in the yard next to me. And we would just pick the figs and store them. Done.
You're right, sorry. Art's got a special dispensation today,
So he doesn't have to get off.
so he doesn't have to get off.
Oh, yeah.
So,
But you
all
can
right,
go shake.
you can go shake his hand.
Oh, okay.
Transfer ownership of the
Yeah.
Okay, who'd like to go now? Aaron. So, the question is, another category of activities is just fun outdoor activities that are possible during the summer, a fruit of the beautiful weather that it makes possible. Tell us about an activity such as RAGBRAI or some other hiking or activity that you have engaged in during the summer. And hopefully enjoy.
Yeah. Fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home. Speaking of RAGBRAI, I've tried to do my own cross-town bike tour on my own before. As you know, the Fairfield Loop is about, 13-mile trail? 17-mile trail. I kind of set a goal for myself when I first found out about it when I moved here, that I wanted to do the trail. I consider myself kind of an avid biker, something I like to do in my spare time. So, now, as you know, also my wife is pregnant, so she was kind of out for the ride. Usually I like to bring her along, but it was just me this time. And so I decided that, by God, I was going to do that trail. And about a third of the way through the trail, all of a sudden it starts to pour. I mean, absolutely downpour. And I'm thinking, you know, this is my Moby Dick. I can't stop. You know, I got to keep going. And so I'm just drenched, and I'm just thinking, oh, it's just a nice little shower. It's just cooling me down, you know. So I'm still going, still riding. I'm about halfway, and I'm just drenched and can't stop. You know, I'm as far away from my house as I can. So what's the point? You know, might as well just keep on going. And then I get to the part of the trail that goes along the highway. And for those of you that know it, it's up, down, hills, and I ran out of gas. I literally, my body couldn't take it anymore, and I'm thinking, no, I gotta keep going, but then I started to walk it up the trails. Of course, I was excited when I got to the top, because then I got to jump back on my bike and shoot down until the gravel slowed me down, and then I had to go back, and eventually I got to the point where I got to the hospital. And so I had to just call it quits, unfortunately, and I actually called my wife up and I said, can you come get me? I'm at the hospital. And I thought, oh, I'm not a patient at the hospital, I'm just at the hospital. So she came and got me. But that was an excellent experience.
What's our time?
What time is it?
Carmen's our
8:25.
We have 6 minutes left to go.
You're our
Okay.
Toastmaster, so look at our agenda and see
8.
where we are.
Oh, it is 8:29.
Maybe two more.
We have 2 more.
I think we have time for at least one, possibly 2 more. Yeah? So the topic is fruits and vegetables. The question is a tomato a fruit or a vegetable? And whichever it is, what do you do with it that you like best? And do you grow?
In my mind, a tomato is a vegetable. I'm not really sure what to technically call it, but my favorite is yellow tomatoes from the farmer's market. Every year, my favorite thing is to go get the biggest, juiciest ones, several, and make tomato sandwiches. That was my favorite last year. Now that I'm watching my carbs, trying to skip the bread. So I still have them. A whole big plate with the healthy mayonnaise, lots of salt, and just eat it up like a steak. So that is my favorite thing with the yellow tomatoes. And I don't bother with the red ones anymore. Why go red when the yellow are such a delight, much sweeter, much heartier. That's my joy in the summer, is yellow tomatoes at the farmer's market.
Okay, who's next?
Nobody won.
No, not everybody.
Hobby's a possibility.
I'm trying to evaluate them.
No,
that's okay.
And,
Sure.
and you're a possibility.
Alright.
So the question is still backyard fruits and vegetables. Are bell peppers, color peppers, fruits or vegetables? And do you grow them and what do you like to do with them? Or do you know somebody that grows them and likes his own way?
Thank you, Mr. Topics Master, fellow Toastmasters. It's interesting that you should ask me about bell peppers. There are certain foods that certain people don't like, and you've hit on one that I don't like. I'll have to qualify that a little bit. I really like the taste of a food that has had peppers cooked into it. But unfortunately, if you watch me eat something like a casserole that has cut up bell peppers in it, I'll pick them all up. But I like the taste. It's great. Somehow, bell peppers don't like me. It's just, you know, one of those things that makes me feel like I need to belch or something like that. I will admit, it's such a beautiful fruit. There's the orange ones, and the ones that are almost yellow, and then the dark green, and then there are reds. I could almost see growing them just to look at them. They're that beautiful. And it turns out that my wife is something of a bell pepper addict, so they wouldn't go to waste. But unfortunately, I had to be honest. I couldn't pretend to be a pepper lover. I could only pretend to understand how somebody could possibly be a pepper lover. Thank you. Why don't you introduce me as General Evaluator?
From the timer, which table topics speakers qualify?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster, all of the speakers qualified, Jean, Dee, Aaron, Janet, Dan.
So let's give 2 minutes.
One.
Oh no, let's vote for the table topics, best table topics speaker. Let's welcome our general evaluator for today, Dan Craig.
Now we're going to hear from our table topics evaluator. Tonight that's Adi. Please, Adi, please.
Good evening, all. Good evening, Toastmasters. Good evening, people at home. First of all, I would like to thank the table topic master because you chose an interesting topic, which encourages people to speak and to talk more, and which makes hard for me to do. I'm going to evaluate each one, so it's my first time here to do the evaluation of the table topic.
You have 3 to 4, I'm just gonna tell you, 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. I'll be very good. Like, Jean, thank you so much for your speech. I like the way you basically respond to the question. Even you did not answer, like you didn't have a direct question, but you turned around the question in a very interesting way. So I like the way you talked about your chili story. The poses that you have, the facial expression, and the vocal variety. In addition to that, you already have, like, because the topic intends to speak about personal stories, so this gives authenticity to the speech. So like you had, for me, a complete speech from introduction, body, conclusion, with all the skills that we have from Toastmasters. For D, I like the way that you talked about more than the way, like, because I saw I see development in your the way you respond to the table topic. You had more vocal variety, facial expressions, and you were like, for me, you're talking about something that you're so passionate about it, and we felt that. I can see, like, things for improvement. This okay, like,
We like that,
No, we encourage
we
it.
want that.
I'd like to see more into when you close, like a strong closing. Alan, you always impress me when you speak, because like when you get into the stage, you have this power, the body language, the way you master this place. So I like from introduction, body, conclusion, the vocal variety, everything. But for me, I'd like to see more also in the closing, because most of the speakers here were basically just look at the timer, just to wrap it quickly, because like we have 30 seconds after the red cover. So just have a great closing as the great opening. Janet, I like your big smile. The story about your tomato, the yellow tomato. For me, it was very interesting, but I would like to see more vocal variety and power on the stage. Maybe because you're coming from work, but I'd like to see more energy because you have it. Dan, our president, again, it was a very interesting story about the pepper, how you basically, when you told us about, hey, it doesn't like me, the bell pepper. For me, I'd like to see more power on the stage. I like the poses. I like you need, for me, to see more gestures and more energy on the stage.
Thank you, Adi. That was stellar. Wow. Let's see. Where are we now? I believe we're going to ask which evaluators qualified.
Yes. Both our evaluators qualified.
And they are?
They are Aaron and Adi.
Let's take 1 minute to vote for best evaluator.
That's like,
All right, we're going to move on with our reports. And our first report's going to be from our timer, Jean.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Our speaker for the evening, David, came in 5 minutes, 39 seconds. Perfect. Table topics, we have me at 1 minute, 50 seconds. D, 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Aaron, 2 minutes and 19 seconds. Janet, 1 minute exactly. Watching for that green light. And Dan was 1 minute and 37 seconds. Our speech evaluators, Aaron was 3 minutes and 21 seconds. And Adi was 4 minutes and 3 seconds. And he had, since we had 5, I gave him 3 to 4, so that was qualifying as well. Thank you.
And as long as you're warmed up, let's have your grammarian report.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Our word of the day was stellar. We had David used it once. Aaron used it. I couldn't tell if Aaron used it once and then stuttered and used it again, or whether he was just trying to stack the deck. So being generous, I would say he used it twice. It almost was like a false start sentence
Like a
kind of thing.
Xerox or something.
Yeah, a Xerox. But
I'll take it.
yeah, it's okay to Xerox, I guess, on the word of the day. And Dan said it once. Examples. I really liked David's examples of creative language. David said he imbibed into my soul. That, when he was talking about that first story was just so, just deep. And they also said, and this is not creative use of the language per se, but it was something that just had a really nice punch. And it was, in order to provide more, I have to earn more. And that was just a really solid punch. Aaron said, this was my Moby Dick, in terms of, not because it was in the water, was it? No, no.
But it's that thing that you're trying to achieve
Yes,
at all costs.
yes, we got it. Okay, so that's my report. I like both of those usages, and thank you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Let's hear from our ah counter. That's D.
You're welcome.
After that, I think we need a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hear from Janet.
And
Oh, what you got there?
we have some well-rehearsed jokes, thanks to group jokes. One of our beloved members was able to find. These should be great. All right, let's see. Question, why did the orange stop?
To squeeze, I don't know.
So
Oh, wait, stop.
guesses?
That light.
Because it ran out of juice.
Yeah, oh.
How do you make an apple turnover?
You just let it fall out of the tree.
Good answer. Push it down a hill. They're only giving me 2. Oh no, here's one. Why did the banana go to the doctor?
Something about a peel.
I don't even know.
Peel.
It wasn't peeling well.
Yeah.
Why was the tomato blushing?
Juice.
Because it saw the salad dressing.
Whoa.
Get it? Why were the apple and orange all alone? This will be the final.
Here's why it's what?
Why were the apple and orange all alone? Because the banana split. Is that enough for that?
Thank you, Janet. That was inspiring. At least there were no bell pepper jokes.
Yeah, right.
It's my turn to evaluate the evaluators. Our first evaluator tonight was Aaron, who is evaluating David's speech. I liked that he began his evaluation with good, enthusiastic praise. He mentioned a joke, using the word of the day, good voice quality. I noticed right at the very beginning of the talk that Aaron gave a huge sigh. It was like, this is really a tough thing to do. But I'm going to pull it off when I can. You might watch that. It is a little distracting. You gave us excellent feedback. I think the things you mentioned were use of the stage in a purposeful manner, purposeful eye contact, point by point, and a more defined intro. I particularly want to praise you because when you gave those suggestions, you demonstrated. So you demonstrated moving on the stage. You demonstrated speaking to one person for one point. That was all very good. Other than the sigh, the only thing I think I could recommend to you is to remember when you do an evaluation for an icebreaker, you want to go a little heavier on the praise, maybe. I think it all worked out fine. David is still in the room.
It's a good sign.
So that's one thing to keep in mind. And then Audie was our evaluator for table topics. An excellent job. Perhaps your club didn't evaluate table topics. I don't know.
Sometimes we do, sometimes no.
Okay. You did well. I won't throw out stellar again. I did that already.
Okay.
A couple of things that I noticed that you did particularly well were that you had good natural gestures and you had a pleasant, encouraging manner. You spoke to each person, told them what you liked about what they did, and you were genuine in your expressing your appreciation for what they had done. I won't go through the particulars of what you told each person, but with the exception, I think, of just one person, you did have a suggestion for everybody. So that's excellent. It's good to give somebody some positive feedback, also good to give them something to perhaps improve. The small suggestion I have for you is, for example, the person that you didn't give a suggestion to, I believe that was Jean. Sometimes it's very difficult to give a suggestion to somebody. You listen to them and you think, well, I can't think of anything. The other angle you could take on it would be, what's something they could have done differently? If it's not necessarily something they needed to improve, what could be a different approach? And then the last little thing that I'll give you is something that I never do myself when I evaluate. It's a purposeful movement on the stage. We'll call that the category of something thrown in. But all in all, very good. We really appreciate it. Good job. And now I'm going to call the Toastmaster Carmen back to give us the meeting awards.
All right. Our best speaker for today is David.
Surprise!
Our best table topic is D. Congratulations. And our best evaluator for today's meeting is Addie.
Oh.
President Tan Craig.
Thank you, Carmen. We have a couple of things that we always want to deal with right at the close of the meeting, perhaps just after. At this time of year, dues. We've had a couple of people pay their dues, but all the rest of you, it's an open field. You can jump in there and give Carmen, our treasurer, $54. Of course, it's important that we gather all this up before the October 1st deadline date. We have to turn it in at least a week before that. And the other thing is our VP of Ed, Jean, always wants you to stop in and talk with her about scheduling your speeches. So if you're working on a path, if you're in a project, go ahead and schedule it. The last one that I did, I finally decided to just schedule it rather than decide. For quite a while, I was trying to get it ready before I scheduled it, and I did it the other way, and it turns out a little bit of pressure helps. You have to get there if you're scheduled. So talk to those people right after the close of the meeting. Do we have any club business we need to go over? Aaron, have we got anything regarding the art walk?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. So 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock have been taken by Jean and Dan. 6 to 7 have been taken by Adi and I. Is that okay? I think we had 7 to 8, but I had something that came up. Are you?
I don't know that I'm going to make it or not because I will have something.
Okay.
I will confirm.
Okay.
But if I'm going, it's okay. Anytime I can go.
Okay. So we still need a couple more people to sign up for one of these slots.
When is our work? Is it coming up?
It's a week from Friday.
Okay.
What's
Yeah,
open?
I can be there. I just put
Is
me
that
down.
September 6th?
My-
September
Yeah.
6th. Can you say those time slots again, Aaron? I missed somehow.
So 7 to 8.
I'll take
Is
it.
open?
Yeah, it's okay.
I'll take it.
Okay. And
6
you
to
wanna-
7, I can do 6 to 7.
Okay.
I'm just, my studio's just right around the corner there, so I can just.
Yeah. Now, will you be able to help us set up too?
Yeah, I can help set.
We'd like to use your tent again. if that's
Yeah, I mean, my camp is
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no, sure. I'll just bring it over and, you have to come over and carry it over. So, no. Okay.
I can do 7 to 8.
So at 4 o'clock set up?
That's too early.
At
Yeah.
4:30?
No earlier than 5. If it starts at 6. I
Oh,
don't
okay,
see
so
any-
5 o'clock. So I'll bring it over. 5 or
Huh?
5 o'clock?
Yes.
Okay.
That works.
And how about tables? Did you have a
Oh,
table?
I have a little table like, yay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think last time we used Janet's.
Janet, you have a bigger table, don't you?
Where?
Like a card table?
Oh,
I
yeah,
have
if
a-
I could move the 5 heavy ceramic tiles that
Yes.
are on it.
I have
You
a
know,
card table
It's
also.
on the ground.
I think a couple of tables
I'll
worked out.
Couple
volunteer.
card
I'll be
tables
good
and
tomorrow.
chairs. I have chairs in my studio.
We did last time. That's good.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
I
Did
brought
we
my,
use your chairs
I
last
think,
time?
yeah, you have those folding notes. Where else is there chairs on here?
Okay, we'll have one more meeting before that event occurs, so we can
We can
confirm
confirm.
everything. Is that everything we have to do? Oh, maybe you and I could talk at the end of the meeting about what we're gonna do in terms of raffle tickets.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You know,
There are some, in our supplies box, there is a little set of labels that people can sign in when they visit as guests.
Okay.
Maybe we could use that. We'll look at them, I haven't looked at them carefully.
I have a suggestion, and I don't really have a suggestion, it's just a kind of a thought. We've done these before, and we don't seem to be getting anybody new to join in. So I know people put the thinking cap on about what we could do to encourage people to, an incentive or something, people to actually try a meeting. In other words, invite them to, on that.
G.
So we're doing a raffle,
Right.
and just hold that thought for a second.
Sure.
you don't have any, do you guys have any, you know, like something that could be like a generic, you know, raffle thing? We're gonna raffle some Pilates classes and, what else did we
Chair
have?
massages.
Chair
Chair
massages
massages.
from Veda, you know, trying to get people's names in a
And a hopper.
in a container. If you don't have it, you know, but I know you guys are, you
We
know,
have to look through the raffle tickets that we've created to see if there's one that could be generic.
yeah.
For a
like-
free shake or
like
something, you know.
But so here's the thing, well, I don't know, if you wanna, the idea would be if you win, didn't we say everybody was gonna win? Cause everybody, you know, Veda's happy to give, well then, you know, in order to claim your prize, okay, this could, you have to come.
Come here.
You have to come to the meeting.
Have to come to meeting.
Yeah, cause we wanna
Right.
just, you know, acknowledge everybody and we'd like to meet you and like that. You don't just get to throw your name in
That
and
could get a
then.
little tricky.
I know,
That'd be tricky.
You call it, you're a big winner,
but,
but,
I know.
No, you have to do it the right way. It's
Okay.
wording.
Well, think about it. Maybe we could have the meeting, instead of having it here.
No, we want them to know how to get here.
I'm just thinking if we could do like a fake meeting or a simulation of a meeting. So they get to experience what it is, so they're not scared away.
You say you're a
We could,
winner.
no, we could do like, maybe do some table topics there, to kind of show them how fun it is. We could kind of orchestrate our table topics, so it looks real easy and simple. You know, I mean, just give a little demonstration. Well, what's Toastmasters all about? Do a
You
little,
mean
It's
at the
event.
art walk,
Here's
at
an
the art
example,
walk.
this is a table topic, this is how fun it
it's
is.
a good idea.
We won't get their attention.
My thought is with so many people milling around.
I know.
It might not be the right venue.
Anyway.
But it's a good idea for the future.
You know, think about how that
something
might
else.
work. We'll take them off in the corner somewhere and flail them with wet noodle.
Anything
But
else?
anyway, so that when, cause so Dee was saying, how can we get, you know, get people here? And that could be a way to blend the giveaway with, you know, just coming out, you know, just, it doesn't have to be, you know, like, it doesn't have to be, aha, bait and switch, you know, like that, it's just more,
Okay, maybe you can
It's
give us
more-
more
I mean, maybe
pointers on how to
if
pull
we
it
set
out.
it up front, like, if you
Yeah.
enter into the raffle, you have to be present to win.
well, not half. You know, I mean, so whenever, if someone says you have to, don't you start to go like, no, I don't.
As a
You
suggestion,
just say you will only collect prizes when you're
You
present.
say,
You just say you're a winner.
yeah, that.
Collect
that
your
would-
prize
well,
at the end of the meeting.
No, you say you're a winner, conditions apply.
Well, you know, you're.
And then can any of you talk really fast?
Yeah. So hey, you,
Certain
yeah,
conditions might apply to the
hey, you want a chair massage, and we have some other winners as well, and we'd like to sort of do at our meeting, our next meeting, whatever the date is we'd like to give everybody their prize. And, okay, so I just wanna get everybody, so this is the thing, I wanna encourage everybody to go to YouTube, put in Golden Speakers Toastmasters, and look at some of our videos, cause they are a riot. I mean, I was, and I'm so proud of us. I mean, I watch Aaron do stuff, talk about his, his wife finally getting him under control, that it doesn't have to be all his way, that was last week. I mean, you just see,
it's on YouTube.
but like David, so it's on YouTube. YouTube, here's the pad, YouTube, Golden Speakers Toastmasters. And we just switched the order, so when you open it up now, the whole collection, it's gonna be the newest first. And David, so he usually puts it up on the weekend, and you have gotta see yourself. Because it's a picture worth 1,000 words, and it's your VPE.
Well, it's good
I want you
feedback.
to learn as much as you can from as many channels as you can, and those videos are really
Priceless.
good, and they're fun. So that was the plug. Watch those videos.
Okay,
And they're
very
being
good.
shared, they're being put out,
I'll
people are
send one to
liking
mine.
them.
I'll send one to my relatives.
Sure, just, there you go.
Okay, I'm thinking that we're just about out of time. Anything else we need to cover? Aaron?
I think I alluded to this last time, the member interest surveys.
Mhm.
I printed some out. I think it would really benefit if people would fill these out. It gives us an idea on what our club members are interested in and what they want to get out of Toastmasters. We would, update our meetings accordingly, figure out ways of putting that stuff in.
Okay.
I think it'd be a great way for people.
Why don't you pass those out and
Bring them at the next meeting or something.
bring them back to Aaron? Do you think we ought to do the officer meeting next week?
It's the first Tuesday.
Oh, I got my calendar next week.
Is
Yes, I'm glad I remembered. Tuesday the 3rd, September 3rd, is our officers' meeting. We'll meet downstairs in the dining room at 6:50. All officers should attend. It'll be 6:50 to 7:30. Anybody else in the club that wants to attend is welcome also. And I'll send out an agenda beforehand. If you have anything you want to add, then you can reply and we'll work it out on email. All right. Excellent meeting, everyone. Please stay a few minutes and talk to Carmen, talk to Jean, and help clean up the room. Thanks.